the dog in me.
One must die, chase the cat.
Oh, here we
Good
are.
evening and welcome to Posse Presents, where there's never a dull moment. We always have fun. I'm here tonight with my friends Kristin and Charley Socci and Leo, who is, you know, Speedo is terrible because he sits on the floor and he entices the dogs to come and visit him. So we'll get Leo on camera in a minute. Right now there's a face bath going on the floor. But we are here tonight because it's time for my annual birthday list, which started out a couple of years ago with my column. I didn't have the show yet, and so it was coming up on my birthday and there were some urgent dogs, and I wrote my plea. I think I had a part 1 and a part 2 that year because, you know, there's always dogs that need homes. And then last year I did it on the show, and this is where you guys come in. Leo, if you guys can see him, he probably blends right in with the black. We're all in black. He's black, the chairs are black. But Leo was formerly known as January from the Bristol Pound. And he'd been there, we were in July, and he was there since January, hence the name. And he's doing the frog on the floor with Speedo again. Anyway, how did you become aware of Leo? Tell us his story. Go.
I think it was equally via Facebook, both via your show as well as from some friends that had posted pictures of him. You're going to show his card from before?
Zach, so, can we get the poster for January? That's the one. Oh, where are you going? There he is.
So that's his poster. And we had just finished helping a dog out that was in the Essex Pound that had been in the pound over there for a few months. I had fostered a dog before that. I was kind of paying attention. He was on my radar. And then he got adopted. And then we see the next morning that he was returned. So I had talked to Charlie before that and said, you know, do you think we should foster him or, you know, think about bringing him home? And then I was like, oh, he's been adopted, this is great. And then the next morning, oh, not so much. So we went up to Bristol, drove up to Bristol to meet him. And he's just a super, super mellow dog. He let us, let us hang on to him, let us, kind of check out his, let us pet him, let us, look in his mouth, let us, just very, here he is.
Zach, we'll take the camera back because everybody's missing this.
Come here, handsome.
I just got mauled by a pit bull.
Come here. Can you?
Yeah.
Sit? Good boy. And Leo's story was that he had been in the pound for 7 months. His previous owner had been, he wasn't just dumped, he was...
Wasn't he arrested, if I remember?
His previous owner was arrested. The family was supposed to come and pick him up and never did. And what was their loss has been our gain because he's been just... and I have to say, whoever they were, they took immaculate care of this dog. He was very trained. I think our friend Carrie also did some work with him while he was in the pound. But just a fantastic, wonderful, sweetheart, mellow, 95% of the time dog.
Yeah, well, most of them are. And he was one of my birthday dogs last year.
Come on up.
And Zach, if you could show the birthday picture. I woke up on my birthday to one of the most fabulous pictures. And there that is. That was Leo starting his new life.
Here you go.
With a little happy birthday note. That was on my Facebook page. Bright and early on my birthday, which was really and truly one of the most tearfully wonderful presents that I could have had, and it was really cool of you to do that.
Thank you.
So we'll take the camera back and we'll watch Leo get some treats.
Here, can you look at the camera, handsome?
Yeah, good luck with that.
That's it for you.
He's like, Mommy got treats. I don't
Yeah.
want to know nothing. The whole world can see my cute little butt.
There. Want to turn around? Want to turn around?
So he's worked out, and it's definitely one of those happily ever afters.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you know, that's all I ever hope for an animal. And knowing you guys, it was like so cool to know like really good people took him in,
Yeah.
and like we're gonna care for him.
Yeah.
And not bail on him again or leave him high and dry, because you know, too many people. I know you guys make the commitment, is what I'm trying to say, and
Yeah.
that's, you know, that's so important, because you know, once a dog is left in a pound or any shelter, once they're given up, it just messes with their heads. And
Yeah.
fortunately, for as long as he sat there, he didn't
Yep.
suffer any damage.
Yeah,
so.
he really, you know, such a just great dog. You know, and the most important thing, I think, when you are considering, you know, bringing a dog into your home is, you know, taking a little bit of time to introduce them to your resident dogs.
Yep.
You know, if situations happen with the resident dogs, to, you know, work through that, to, you know,
Yeah.
possibly, you know, anticipate.
Yeah, a lot of people try to
So-
rush it. A lot of people don't give a dog time to decompress. You know, these dogs who spend a lot of time in the pounds, it just messes with them. They're not meant to be caged and kenneled and separated and all that noise and craziness that I
right.
always talk
Yeah.
about. So you got to give them time to understand that they're home. Just because you know, oh good, I brought you home, they don't understand that. So they have to work their way into, okay, this is my place now. This is my mom, this is my dad,
Yep.
these are my siblings, if there are any, human and animal. And but he looks like he's done fabulous.
Yes.
And you
Yes.
guys did a wonderful thing, and I am forever grateful, and he is the most grateful, no doubt. And this is my first chance to meet him, so that makes it very cool. I couldn't think of a better way to start this year's birthday list.
Leo.
Oh yeah, there's a pit bull mauling going on the floor over here.
Okay, enough.
Leo. Come on now. Treats. Treats.
Good boy.
Somebody
Sit
needs
there.
a bath.
Sit. Down, down. Good boy. Speedo just got his face completely washed by Leo.
He may never be the same.
You want to chew on that for
But
a
you know
while?
what they say about these vicious pit bulls, you know, they're just, I love it. Anyway, there are so many urgent dogs.
Yes.
And I try to focus my list. Yeah, Speedo's moved. He's not on the floor anymore, so you know, I guess he learned his lesson. But there are so many urgent dogs, and at this time of year especially, so it kind of is a good time for me to try to promote some of the most urgent ones.
Yep.
You know, some of them have been there way too long. Some of them just aren't doing well. Because again, they break down, and I've talked about this before. They're not meant to be in the situations that they're in. And I'm really pleased to say that the dog that was at the top of my list,
Yes.
Catalina from Hartford, a senior blind dog who was found stuck between a wood pile and a chain link fence. Now, how does a 12-year-old blind dog get there?
Not sure.
Because she was dumped. Now, you can only imagine how she felt in that situation, and then to get brought into a big shelter with all the noise and all the activity. I guess she was like pacing and drooling, and she wouldn't settle down, and everybody was really worried about her because Hartford only has 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days and that's
So
it.
she had till Tuesday. So she was top of my list. But I guess the story goes that a woman with challenges of her own walked in. Catalina kind of knew she was there, went right over to her, showed a lot of interest in her. For the first time, she didn't pace and drool. Her tail came out from between her legs. She laid down with the woman, and happily ever after. So yeah, really, totally. So we don't even have to put her on the list, but we have to say, as I posted on their wall, you know, I'll just take it as an early birthday present and go grab a tissue.
Yeah, no doubt, no
'Cause,
doubt.
yeah, if you read the post, it was like, wow, that's a gift. So anyway, Catalina, not on the list anymore. Which brings us to Carl in Southington. Carl, and I can't resist, had a gig riding a big rig until the boss threw him out.
Oh no.
Zach, we've got a picture and a poster of Carl. If you could kind of like slowly go between those two things. Carl had been adopted by a gentleman who drove a truck.
Okay.
And so he was part of, you know, part of the driving crew. He got to ride shotgun. Look at that face. Can you stand that face? But yeah, until the boss decided that no more dogs in the trucks. And the guy, like, you know, these long haul truckers, they don't necessarily have a place to really call home.
Yeah.
He had nobody to leave the dog with. So Carl, unfortunately, his over-the-road life didn't last all that long, and he found himself in the pound. So that's one of those critter cards, they call them, on Facebook. Describes a little bit about Carl, and I will put that on the Pound Posse Presents page. But look at that face. Zach, can we have just his picture? Because they do have that picture up.
Oh,
look at that face. How can you just, I want to go just smooch him.
Yeah.
It's just, he's
He must be very well socialized if he was
yes,
riding.
Yes, that takes a special kind of dog.
Yeah.
yeah.
He's neutered, he's housebroken. He used to do well with other dogs, but unfortunately, all of his kenneling, you know, that can definitely make them not necessarily get along so well, and that's his issue right now. So right now, and I keep stressing the right now, till he decompresses, like we talked about, he needs to be an only. But, oh, if I could make him my only, look at that face.
And he looks like he's maybe even like a pocket pitty. How many pounds is he? Do you have
I don't have that on here. That may be on all of that that critter card.
But he looks pretty little. So.
Yeah, and he's only 1.5 years old, so he's young, and you know he's clearly been through a lot already because he's had at least a couple of homes.
Yep.
So I'm just so wistfully, I just want to smooch that little mouth.
He's in Southington?
He's in Southington, and if anybody is interested, they can call
860-628-8053.
And let's run that out one more time.
860-628-8053 for Carl.
For Carl, and hopefully he will get his forever very soon. And we'd like to know about it. We're going to move on to, Zach will take the camera back. We're going to move on to Desiree, who is in Bridgeport, and she's been in Bridgeport since October.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Yeah, you're counting. That's a long time.
Yeah, 8 months, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Zach, let's get Desiree up. I'm going to drive this kid crazy tonight. But he loves me anyway. So we've got 2 pictures of Desiree. There she is, smiling pretty for the camera.
Beautiful brindle girl.
Yep, yep. We got a little info about Desiree. Zach, let's see the other picture too.
So Desiree has been in since October. She's about 1.5 years. Oh, look at that beautiful brindle girl.
Yeah. Look at those ears.
She's a no cats dog. She's very energetic and athletic, so she would probably do best with a family that would be able to, you know, give her walks and help her decompress. And
yep, they said something about she might be a good agility dog because apparently she likes to jump in her kennel. And my phone is barking. I'm sure we hear that off in the distance. Leo doesn't notice yet, so that's a good thing.
He will stay just as mellow as he is.
He doesn't react. That's cool.
When he does woof, he has this wonderful, deep.
Yep, I mean business kind of.
Yep.
But doesn't come out a lot.
Oh,
not very much of a barker. Yep, very mellow boy.
All right. So what else do we got for Desiree? Anything?
That's the info we have. She's a beautiful brindle girl. Again, she's in Bridgeport.
In Bridgeport.
And do we have a phone number for
Yeah, we'll give that out
in
a minute. We're going to go on to Zach. Can we have Peepa? And that's Peepa.
Oh,
Isn't she beautiful?
She could be Leo's sister.
Yeah,
really
she
pretty,
could.
Yeah. Peepa has been in since November. That's a long time.
That's another long time.
Yep.
So 7 months, 6 months, 7 months. She's a throwaway.
She's a throwaway mama.
She's a throwaway mama. So
Yeah, you know.
did they
they're-
find her with puppies or?
No, just looking like Pitbull Molly.
Careful, careful,
Yeah.
careful, handsome.
Theo's,
She's
Theo's
good.
getting her face washed.
It's all good.
And Peepa's very sweet and very playful.
Yep, she looks like a love, and you know she's probably suffering from that quote unquote black dog syndrome.
Yep.
You know, they're the most overlooked. You know, you could probably say that Leo suffered the same syndrome in sitting there as long as he did. And like, God, I can't stand it. But yeah, she could definitely be related to him if you look.
And
And
what town? What town is she?
That's
in?
Bridgeport.
She's also in Bridgeport.
That's also in Bridgeport. Now, for those of you cat lovers, there's also in Bridgeport been a 20-year-old cat as an owner surrender, which to me is just unthinkable. I mean, you know, 20 years of love and devotion, and you know, here's the highway. That's really rough. You're not saying what you're thinking. Anyway, we can, for the moment, take the camera back, Zach, and we will give out the number for the Bridgeport Animal Shelter.
So Bridgeport is 203-576-7727.
Hey, you know, the family that reads together.
One more time. 203-576-7727.
And,
For Bridgeport.
Yep, for Bridgeport. That's Desiree, that's Peepa, and if anybody's interested in a 20-year-old cat. 'cause-
Giving it a little love for the end of its life.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's in good shape for 20 years old, maybe a little skinny, but, you know, a skinny 20-year-old cat is probably starting, his body's starting to change.
Female
Yeah.
or male?
I think it was a female. I can't be 1,000% sure. But some of these animals that we're not mentioning on the air, I will definitely post on Pound Posse Presents. And folks, that's where you got to follow these stories to see what happens with these animals. And I'm also going to put some other ones up that maybe didn't get into tonight's list. You know, he's trying to get to Speedo. Look at him. He's like army crawling across the floor.
He
It's
likes
hilarious. They all do. They all do. It's been hilarious.
That's
Every
a
time
good
there's a dog
sign.
here, they're like, they gravitate to him, but of
Yeah.
course he incites it because he sits on the floor, right off of camera reach. But he learned his lesson tonight because he really got he really got it. Anyway, we're going to move on to a couple of the dogs in New Haven. Now, New Haven has had, as recently as a few weeks ago, 17 urgents, and they've whittled it down. There's like 5, I would say, at the very top of the list.
Leo.
That's hilarious.
Come here, handsome.
Speedo's getting killed off camera. Anyway, so there's about 5 that are, I think,
Treats.
still at the top of
all
the
gone.
list. And unfortunately, they did lose one this week, and that was Layla.
empty?
So
Yeah.
fly free with the angels, Layla, because nobody
Empty.
came for you in time, and
Yeah.
Wait a
that's
minute.
really painful. It really is. So in order to not have this happen again, Zach, can we bring up Percy? I love, all right. All right. And this is Percy, and look at that face. Percy,
He is kind of reminds me of how we heard about Leo. He gets along with everybody. He's sweet and lovable. He's been in since January.
yep, who does that remind you of?
Our Leo. And
That time again
He
for a
just-
big save.
Yeah.
we think maybe he's, they think maybe he's Boston Terrier mix. New Haven has a wonderful group of, these dogs are somewhat lucky because they have a wonderful volunteer program there.
Oh, yes,
and they
they
do
do.
have runs for the dogs to go in, so they don't deteriorate quite as fast, but when they get full, they're full, and
they
we
have
really
been.
need to pay some attention and give some love to
Yeah,
these dogs in New Haven. Yeah,
absolutely. So
definitely.
even though there's only 2 on the list from New Haven tonight, There are plenty more, and again, I will have them posted on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. If you haven't liked it yet, now is your time. You know, I seem to get a lot more mileage out of posting on my own page rather than the Pound Posse page. So we're going to try to drive people to one central location to find out what's going on with all these animals. But yeah, Percy's definitely in need. Looking real sharp there. I love that black nose.
Yeah.
The little mouth, the little nose.
And he has little peaked cropped ears.
Yeah.
So
it seems like
cute.
a lot of the New Haven dogs have those like way too short ears, and that makes me hurt so much. I actually saw a cat posted on Facebook with like missing ears like that. Like, what did you think your cat was, a pit bull?
Yeah.
Like, you idiot, you.
Yeah.
I can't help myself. Anyway, that brings us to Zach. Can we have Taj, please? That brings us to the most urgent of all. Apparently, she's at the very top of the to be next list. Yes. So we've really got to move Taj. Look at that face. Look at that beautiful markings. You know, the eye rings and just a beautiful dog. And I think poor Taj is starting to melt down too in the kennel, isn't she?
Yeah, more than half of her life she's been in the pound. And she's just over a year and a half old.
Yeah, so imagine that, half of your life behind bars, and you're that young. What kind of life, as good a job as they do, what kind of life is that for, you know, an animal? It's not.
Yeah.
So.
And does this mean she's next on the list?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep, definitely next on the list.
So Taj is really urgent.
Yeah. So please consider either of these two dogs or any of the other ones that are in New Haven, because they really are in a dire situation. Like I said, unfortunately, they did lose one this week, and they go without warning. You know, if you are going to think about adopting a dog, don't drag your feet, especially if they're on the urgent list.
Yeah, because the ACO there will just make the decision, and the volunteers come in the next day, and it's too late.
Totally here today, gone tomorrow.
Yep. So New Haven is 203-946-8110.
For Taj.
For Taj.
203-946-8110.
For Taj and Percy and many others in New Haven.
Yeah,
that
many
need
others.
homes.
Exactly.
Please
like I said,
give Taj a chance.
We'll take the camera back, Zach. I'm a poet. No. So yeah, any of these dogs are on the urgent list, stressing out in the kennel, whatever their situation is. They're just, again, not meant to be. Don't drag your feet. This is basically the initial birthday list. As if, and I will say not if, as these dogs get adopted, I can update it, and there will be more joining the ones that didn't quite make it, because you know, people sometimes with the best of intentions will post, oh, this dog here or that dog there, but I need more than what I've got to work with. So for now, this is the birthday list, and I beg you to save a life. You'll not feel anything but good, and Charlie and Kristin, you can attest to that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know, it's a beautiful thing to save a life. Don't drag your feet. If you're thinking about it, do it. If you're friends with someone who owns a rescue, you know, and you're willing to foster, contact the rescue and see if they'll pull the dog for you. But again, always foster. Pick a foster as carefully as you would pick a dog that you would be keeping.
Yes.
Because you don't need the drama, and then if the dog doesn't work out in your home, where's it gonna go? You've already taken it out of the pound, you can't send it back. You just can't. It's not right.
And there are plenty of, we did our, along with having our pack of rescue dogs, we did foster a dog from New Britain, actually, which is kind of how we met you and
right. Yep.
involved in the whole Connecticut rescue world.
Yep.
And she's now living, she was never on Theo's birthday list or an urgent list, but actually she was on an urgent list. I did pull her the day she was going to be put down, and she's now happily living on a farm in Newburgh, New York.
Yeah.
So
This is Amber.
being very loved. This is Sweet Pea.
Sweet Pea.
Yeah,
Sweet
I remember you talking about Sweet Pea too. I mean, the difference you can make by pulling one of these dogs who doesn't have a lot of time is just, it's life or death.
Yeah.
It really is. And speaking of fostering and speaking of life or death, this is not a dog who is technically in a pound, but can we see Bruno real quick, Zach, before we have to say goodnight?
We'd adopt all of them if we could.
I know, right? This is Bruno, and Bruno is a ward of Kenway's Cause, which is the city of Hartford's 501 entity.
Okay.
Bruno
Look at those
needs a
ears.
foster, a medical foster, and one may have been found, but I'm gonna just put him out there anyway. His owner got beat up by her boyfriend, and Bruno went out a second floor window. And he's lucky to have survived at all. He has a broken hip, which they were able to put back in the socket, and his eye, whether or not from this particular incident or any previous abuse, had a torn muscle and was popping out of the socket.
Oh.
So they were able to put it back in and sutured the eyelid closed to try to make that heal. So it remains to be seen whether he's going to need surgery for the hip, if that took, or if he's going to be able to save his eye or not. But he needs a medical foster, and his medical expenses are sponsored. So you really and truly just be taking care of a dog who really needs all the help he can get. And I've heard that he has been just as sweet as ever through all of this. So, you know, dogs are resilient, and if they're given love, they will return it thousands of fold.
Yes.
That's
Zach will
right.
take the camera back for the last little bit that we've got here. And Leo, do you want to say goodnight to the people? Leo,
Leo, come here.
you want to say goodnight?
Come here.
Do you want to say goodnight?
Can you get into the picture?
You're so lucky. You're such a lucky boy.
Come here, handsome.
He's great. He is. He's so mellow. It's unbelievable. You would never
Can
know.
we give a
Can you
shout
sit
out to
for
the
me?
ACO
Can you
who
sit? Yeah.
helped take care of?
Sure.
Okay, I just want to give a shout out to Roz. Roz, we love you. Thank you for introducing us to Leo, and we love you. You do great work. Thank you.
Yeah, and
And all the other ACOs, thank you.
Yep. All right, so we're getting ready to say goodnight, and whether you've watched it or not, we have that special way of saying goodnight here on Pound Posse Presents. Do you have my credit, Zach? Oops, sorry about that. Yep. We're gonna say, do it with me. Peace, love, and dogs. Leo, I love you. Thank you guys for coming on and being a part of my show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for saving Leo's life.